Hi. Are we on? Is that what you're finding? Hi. If you're tuning in, you notice it's the same backdrop, same bell, but a different person in the chair. Yes, it's very exciting. I'm Michelle Aaron, wife of Rabbi Jonathan Aaron, and it is my pleasure to sit with us tonight. Rabbi Aaron, as some of you know who have come to the daily meditation, usually begins with what's happening in the Torah that day. I'm not going to, not because I don't like Torah, I love Torah talk, but I'm going to have us guide ourselves through mindfulness meditation, but thinking about Tu B'Shvat, our next holiday coming up. I know Rabbi Aaron has talked about Tara Brach. She's one of our favorite mindfulness teachers. And as I was listening to her podcast today, she talked about, it was very beautiful, about what about if we could cultivate a strong back and a soft heart? Strong back like a tree. And it made me think of Tu B'Shvat. What would happen if we took in all the myriad very unsettling things that are going on? I won't even enumerate them, lest we get our hearts and pulses racing. But you have your list, I have my list, and some of the things on my list are certainly some of the things on your list, and yours mine. And then there's the offshoots where your branches feed into other branches, your own family members, or people in your own apartment building, or perhaps in your own apartment or home that I will never know, I will never meet. But they're a part of your branches, and mine are part of my branches. And as we engage with one another in our day-to-day, how can we keep our backs strong like the trees, and knowing that our hearts can find a safety, a compassion? Well, Tara Brach, and I agree with her, suggest a couple of ways to find the roots. So that would mean, I always sit with my feet up in a chair, but sitting with your feet planted. So I'll ask you in these first few moments to plant your feet on the floor. Many of you know I practice yoga and teach yoga. Quick plug, now, Monday mornings, it's all free through Temple Manual at 9 a.m. But the first thing we do is find a comfortable seat. Yoga is to yoke things together. It's not about standing on your head or touching your toes. It's about finding a comfortable posture from which you can sit longer in meditation. It's really, that is what the goal of yoga is. Atta yoga nustasana, yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. The purpose of yoga, that was Sanskrit, not Hebrew. The purpose of yoga is to quell the meanderings of the mind. And that's what we're doing with prayer, with meditation, with singing with one another, with studying text. We're quelling the meanderings of the mind, not to control or eradicate, but so that we're left with a curiosity and perhaps a compassion toward each other's branches, toward each other's meanderings. And of course, the last on the list often is your own. What if you could take all the worry, all the anger, all the fear you might be feeling about all these things on your lists and plant them in the ground? So that's one way, is to plant your feet firmly in the ground. And then to see, oh, okay, things may be unsettling, and what are the things I have around me? You know, if I keep thinking about Tu B'Shvat, about the holiday of the trees, the birthday of the trees, the majesty of those trees as they stand on their own, and yet in community. You know, I'm not sure if trees are feeling or needing the community, but we certainly do. So the tree has a trunk deeply rooted into the earth, the branches coming out, and every now and then, either through the ripple of the wind or, perhaps some other reason, those branches touch the other branches. So you're here with me, and I'm here with you. And we're touching each other's branches through this incredible little device in front of us, be it an iPhone or a computer of some sort. And for that, we have gratitude. We have gratitude for our breath, for our tree trunks in this moment. That is a safety. Whether or not it persists past this half hour, you might feel differently. You can always come back to this safe tree trunk seat. Your feet are rooted, and hopefully you're listening to my voice, and my branch is meeting your branch. So, one way to practice this strong back and soft heart is by rooting your branch, softening your heart just by knowing that there are people, myself included, that have your back, that could be an ear for you. And then there's other things that perhaps you might need to spend a little time on. Perhaps it's a feeling. People have anger often as a barricade against their own feelings of vulnerability. Anger can be a great invitation to begin to notice. Anger and fear and reactivity is real. What's underneath it is often what we need to pay attention to. So as we sit together for the next, 15 minutes or so, I'll lead us more through a guided meditation, I think. But as we sit, what I'd ask you to do is we'll go through from bottom to top, from trunk to spine, meaning our trunk, into the roots, the roots into the trunk, and the spine, and then the leaves, the branches, are the auxiliary parts of our body. And as we do, we'll uncover some spots of vulnerability. If it gets too much, you'll open your eyes, or you'll stay seated and try to experiment with touching that vulnerability in you in this moment, maybe even a little bit more. We can chat about it later, either via the chat here on Facebook, or, text a friend or write in a journal about it. The loveliness of solitude, of practicing on your own, is maybe you can have an experience that you wouldn't allow yourself to have, be it a crying session or some kind of vulnerability that might be scarier to have if you're sitting next to a person in a meditation setting. So as we sit, I'm going to ask you to spend some time with your vulnerability. Usually there's a little bit there, even if it's not something you're aware of. And usually it's something that we avoid. I make lists. I make a lot of lists to avoid feeling, and then I cross out the thing on my to-do list and I feel really proud of myself, and then I can move on. And then sometimes I notice I break a glass accidentally, or I, have a snippier conversation with somebody. And then I have to ask, what am I avoiding? What am I trying not to feel? And sometimes that's an important thing to do, trying to move through your day. It's not always appropriate timing, but here is an appropriate time. So we can soften our hearts, open up our heart. I think Rabbi Aaron wrote a really timely song about it. I think Nancy Pelosi spoke about it. I think that incredible Amanda Gorman, the poet laureate now, she spoke about it with such, everybody's writing about it. People are trying to ask us to stay with hearts open, not to avoid the work that has to get done, but so that we can dip into our own vulnerability, our own compassion, in order to be present for other people's. All right, so please plant your feet. If your feet don't touch the floor, you can use a pillow underneath them. You could move a little bit more forward in your chair, or you could lie down. I hear Rabbi Aaron or people lying down behind me. I suddenly sound like I've got a room filled with people lying down. And if you do still need support, you can lie down and put your feet up on something. There's lots of great restorative blocks and things you can buy. You don't need to buy anything. You can put your feet on an ottoman. You could find your way into child's pose. You could put your legs up the wall. I'll ring the bell, and you'll let your shoulders drop further away from your ears into the back of your chair. So since I said that the practice of yoga is in order to sit longer and more flexibly in meditation, I'll ask that you feel all of your toes, all 10 toes, rooted either on the earth or on the pillow, the mattress, the wall, wherever you might feel it. And find a nice exhale. It doesn't have to be manipulated. You don't have to find your meditation exhale. Just an exhale. As you inhale, drop your shoulders again from your ears and allow a little feeling of a string maybe sitting at the very top of your skull or your crown chakra. Allowing that to feel like it's tied to the ceiling or the sky. Maybe you're meditating outside. And that just automatically sends me into a little bit of a smile. Even though it's dark out, as soon as I thought of my head elongating into the sky, I thought of the sun, and then I couldn't help but allow the corners of my mouth to lift in a little smile. And by letting the crown of my head feel like it's lifting me higher, higher, higher to the sky, I feel more space between my vertebrae. So important, especially as we age, especially as we sit longer, not in meditation, but more at our computers or our desks or at the TV areas. Finding this space between the vertebrae for lubrication, for alleviation of joint pain. And you don't have to do anything fancy to get it. You don't have to join a gym or go to a chiropractor. Just sitting with tall spine, feeling that little invisible string from the back of your skull into the crown chakra and up, 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 up. And then exhale again. So as we do in yoga, the inhale lengthens you, and the exhale roots you a little further into the earth. This lovely duality, this lift of the heart, lift of the head, stretching of the spine, against the duality of the seat, the asana itself, the earth supporting you, and it does. It may not feel like it always. There may be a shake or a quiver or a disturbance to your earth, but it is here, underneath you, underneath me. And I can press on this earth with my feet, all 10 toes, as I draw the small of my back to touch the back of the chair, or to touch the mattress or the floor. Again, the support of the earth. Allow the responsibility of sitting up tall, of steadfastness, to be shared by that which is supporting you, literally. Right? Not the imaginary or not the hope, but the literal support of the chair, the mattress, the floor. So when we get into anxiety mode, or fear or anger mode, the limbic nervous system just absolutely takes flight, and we forget these real supports, the things that feel obvious that you don't take any notice of during your day, maybe, unless it's constricted. Your breath, the earth, your seat, and then the lightness, the head into the sky. Exhale. As you exhale, see if that created a lightness around your ears, around the back of your neck. Another technique is to sense your ears wide apart, football fields apart from each other. Notice if that created a sense of sturdiness to the feet or more lightness. If the pinky toe sides of your feet took more of the weight, try to reignite the big toe side of the foot. If you're lying down on a mattress, not as much to do there. Exhale. I'm going to ask you to take an inward turn in a different way now. Try to keep the small of the back attached to something, the chair, the bedboard, the mattress. And I want you to just go through your body and see what might need your attention. Where might you be holding? Many of us wake up with back pain. Oftentimes, the back pain is about a vulnerability in the core. Let's say the core here is your solar plexus, your heart area. Maybe you take a hand and place it just on the ribs, on the sternum, somewhere in the center. And soften, soften, soften. If something comes up for you, a literal experience, maybe there's room for it. Maybe it's okay in this safe space to allow it. Maybe it can come sit next to you You're not trying to overtake it or squash it. Maybe you just allow it a visit to sit next to you as you're here with me, as you're here with others, as you're here with yourself. Sturdy roots, strong back, and soft heart. Sturdy roots, strong back, and soft heart. You can, of course, keep your hand there. You might explore a hand on your belly, your heart, or you can place them, of course, on your lap, maybe palms turned up to the sky. A gesture of open receptivity, open heart. Maybe just take a nice little notice of your back of your neck. Sometimes when we get emotional, there's a protecting. The shoulders go up to the ears and the breath constricts. And I'm going to ask you, even if you weren't emotionally overwhelmed or even emotionally connected, exhale through your mouth and drop your shoulders further away from your ears. Investigating that soft heart by finding the connection again between the crown of the head and the sky. When I sit with tall spine, I open my heart to myself with greater attunement, greater curiosity, so that I may then meet you with the same. We are vulnerable creatures. We are taught to guard or protect or hide this vulnerability. And sometimes that's the appropriate response. It helps get us out of bed. It helps carry us into obligations. And when it's packed against the next and the next and the next and the next, one punch to the next, without the exhale, the unpacking of it, disturbance is left. We are so fortunate to have tools to unwind this disturbance, this possible disturbance. strong back, soft heart. In our last few moments, or minutes rather, I know Rabbi Aaron takes us through the loving kindness meditation words, mantra, I don't know what we call it. And I think Thursday is usually the final words of it. It seems apropos to this feeling state of open heart. Exhale through your mouth. And before you speak the words, either aloud or in your head, let them form in your mouth. Luminous. Luminous. Such a big, beautiful word. Luminous. All those consonants and vowels, maybe they shimmer inside your mouth, into your jaw. A little inside-out massage into your throat, like you're drinking it, into the back body, down that beautiful vertebra that we were talking about, luminous, all the way down to your sacral, that spot at your tailbone that seems sacredly keeping us together, the sacral. And then all the way from your navel, let that word love, love, come into your belly. You digested luminous and love came up. Digested luminosity and loving space is left. So love reaching all the way up into your ribs. Maybe you touch the ribs again. Into your chest and your heart. Love. Luminosity, luminous, and love. When love meets love. When love meets fear. When love meets hate. We have choices. Then we have choices. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. May you feel luminous. May you feel love. May you be luminous. May you be love. May I be luminous. May I be love. May I be love. And maybe the compassionate mind responds. Maybe the echo of the compassionate inner workings of your instinctual mind says, I am already luminous, and I am love. I am in my own loving. with you in your luminous loving. Let's inhale all together. Inhale, one big luminous inhale through our nose. Hold your breath at the top, like you're swallowing and holding that luminosity. Exhale through your nose. That love. Thank you so much for allowing me some time, and may you have a luminous and loving evening.